Okay, so it's been 4 months or so since the last time that I posted up a video. A lot has happened, and a lot of things that have just, gotten in the way of doing anything. Just, life in general. A lot can happen in 4 months. So right off the bat, let's take a look at the garage that we spent all that time to clean up. It's a mess again, of course, but not nearly as bad as it was. So as you can see, we've got, just stuff thrown everywhere out of the truck and all that. So, but I'm trying to get back to it. I want to get it done. I want to do it. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to start here and go for it. So what I'm doing today, because if we walk outside and you look, I brought my toolbox home again, which I was doing every weekend. But one of the things that happened over the last 5 months is I live in Washington in the Pacific Northwest, and it rains and it snowed actually the last couple weekends, and it's been pretty bad. So I have been being a whiny little butt about it and not wanting to work out in the wet or the cold. And today was a absolutely gorgeous day, and so I decided that I wasn't going to be a whiny butt starting today. Of course, today's perfect, so it's not really whining anyway, but I'm just going to get it done. So here's what needs to happen. This is the old 4Runner, the one I had for over a year, with a motor that was pulled out, just sitting in the garage doing nothing. I just was being lazy and I didn't get it done. So finally I sat down, or I just decided to do it, and I got it done. I had it running for about 3 months, and this happened. I got into an accident on the freeway. Yay! Somebody pulled out in front of me. I hit them, and that was that. This no longer run. Well, it probably does just start up and run. It definitely would start up and run, but it broke my brand new radiator that I hadn't even paid for yet, because I bought it with the PayPal pay after delivery stuff. And so I put it in when I got it, and that weekend I put it in on Friday. We went camping that weekend for 4th of July, and it got in the accident on the 5th of July on the way home from that camping weekend. And I didn't even pay for it until I think 3 days later is when it actually came out of the account. So that sucked. That brand new aluminum radiator, which I'll show you guys right here. 52 millimeter all aluminum radiator with an electric fan, which you can see the electric fan is, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. The electric fan is crunched, and the K&N air filter that I had is crunched, although I think everything else is pretty good. But the engine's fine. The engine didn't actually, the only thing that hit the engine was that electric fan, so it's fine. Nothing else actually hit the engine. The engine's fine, but it is fucked up. The truck is fucked up. Obviously, the frame is damaged, and it hit the steering gearbox on that side. The steering gearbox is on that side, and it hit that, so it tweaked that. So that's all fucked up. So it's all messed up, sorry. So I just don't want to, I'm not even going to try and fix this. However, I was able to get this one. This is the new one. So this one was Roxy. That's what we named her. This one is Roxanne, or Roxy 2. And that is going to be, that's what my wife decided to call her. So welcome to Roxy 2. And I've had this for probably 5 or 6 months now. I did some work for a buddy, and he gave me this for basically in exchange for payment for services. And so this one has a blown head gasket. Well, I just rebuilt this motor. That's why it was sitting out for so long, is because I was actually going through a rebuild, and I just got it running right and everything before all that happened. So this motor's good. It's only got, I think, 1,600 miles on it. So I'm just going to do an engine swap. The other really amazing thing is that this one is a 5-speed. This one's an automatic. I don't want it automatic. I want the 5-speed. So I'm going to take the 5-speed, the clutch, and flywheel off of this one. I got to pick up a new pilot bearing, of course, but I'm going to install it onto this one and get rid of the automatic because I hate it. I'll just reuse the ECU from the white one because it's the same motor. It's 2 years difference, but it's not going to make any difference in the motor wise. So I'll just reuse the the ECU from the white one, keep that in place, and the wiring harness from the white one, keep that in place and everything. And I'll just take the motor out of the black one and put it in the white one. So that's going to be what's happening with the 4Runner. That's what I'm going to be working on this weekend. But before I get into that, I want to introduce the rest of the vehicles, like I said I would do. This is the Supra. It doesn't have a name. My wife calls it a piece of shit because it's been sitting for 5 years now. Almost 5 years now. 4 and some change. I bought it in September of 2012 when I got back from my second deployment. I had decided I am going to buy... Was it my second deployment or my first deployment? No, it was my second deployment. I decided I was going to buy a car. A Supra. And so I bought it. It's a 91 Supra. And it has been sitting in a similar state to this for a long time. I would love to get it done. It's going to be a drift car. I at one point was going to have it as a daily driver, and I was going to fix it up and have it as my daily driver, and it was just going to be a nice, you know, sports car to work on, all that, but things didn't work out. That'll be a story for another time. And so it became a huge project. I have a motor to put into it. This is a 1UZ FE 4 liter V8 out of a Lexus SC400. It is going to go in here because there's no engine in here. I have actually 2 transmissions for it. I have this one, and this one already has the bell housing with the adapter and everything. And then actually in here, in this plastic black trash bag right there, there's a second transmission. They're both W58s, which isn't the transmission that came in this. A couple years ago, I thought I was going to get rid of it, and so I was going to part it out, and so I started putting everything up on Craigslist for it, and the transmission sold immediately, which anybody who knows anything about the R154 transmissions know that, of course, is normal. The transmission will go first. It went immediately. And then several months later, I still hadn't gotten rid of the car, and I was like, well, I'm going to keep it and rebuild it. And it's gone back and forth and gone back and forth and gone back and forth, and I'd love to fix it and keep it, and I wanted it to be a drift car. I don't know what's going to happen. It may not. We'll see. But I have 2 W58s for it. This one and that one. This one came out of a Corolla, I want to say. Like an older Corolla. This one actually came out of another Supra. So this one's actually not even really put together because I was going to do a whole rebuild on it. This one I haven't even opened up or nothing, so I don't know how it even looks inside. But I think I'm going to start with that one and do a full, like, legitimate rebuild on the one out of the Supra, so it's a better one, and then swap it in when I have a chance. Those things don't take very long to swap. I have a lot of work I still need to do with it. The motor is fully rebuilt. You see, I've even got belts and oil filter and everything on it. It's fully rebuilt. I did all the wiring, redid all the wiring, and did the wiring harness myself. I've got everything marked of where it needs to go to hook up inside the car. I've got the ECU for it. What I don't have for it is I don't have motor mounts. And that's probably the biggest thing for getting the engine in the car. I also don't have the flywheel or the clutch kit that I need for it, or the throwout bearing. I do have the Excessive Manufacturing. That's the company I went through. Excessive Manufacturing. I have their adapter plate here that goes from the original 1UZ bell housing to whatever transmission is you buy the adapter plate for. I got the one for the W series because I had one of them already in the garage, and so that's what I went with, not the R series, because those are way more expensive. I'd rather buy and blow W58 transmissions than buy even a single R154 transmission, because those things are freaking expensive. But I need to get the custom flywheel made for it, or buy a flywheel and have it modified for it. Either way, depends on what direction I decide to go with it, and get the full clutch kit for it, which I'd like to go straight to probably a stage 2 clutch right off the bat, just because I've been looking at the aluminum racing flywheel options as well. I don't know what I'm going to decide to do on that. I guess budget will be a big determining factor, but that's where this one's at. It needs flywheel, it needs a clutch, it needs motor mounts, and then, you know, a bunch of other little stuff. I'm definitely going to I'm going to go ahead and get an aluminum radiator and all of that to get into it anyway. But I had decided to strip the car out. So if you take a look inside, it's all the stuff just sitting here because I needed a place to get it out of the way. But it's just sitting, all that stuff just sitting here. But I did pretty much strip the car. The door panels are honestly the only things left are the door panels. But the steering wheel is going to go and get a race steering wheel, and the door panels are going to go, and everything's going to be stripped out. And I'm going to stitch weld the entire thing. I'm going to paint the entire thing. I'm going to lighten it even more. I'm going to cut out the spare tire well in the back and mount in a fuel cell. I'm going to cage the entire thing. I'm going to pull out the wiring harness for everything that's not necessary, all the electronics and everything in the back, speakers and all that, the wiring harness that goes to the back, all of that stuff. The only wiring that'll be back there is to tail lights and that just the lights on the back. That's about it. And then I'm going to cage the whole thing and make it and get new racing seats for it. I don't know which ones yet, but this is definitely been a long-term project that I'd like to get done as soon as possible. Whereas this is a shorter-term project that I want to get done as seriously ASAP, because I want to start daily driving this, because now I get to introduce you to my other vehicle, my tow rig. This one right here. Her name is Scarlett, the big red bitch. This is my 2006 F350. It's a dually with the max heavy duty tow package, 8,000 pound bed payload capacity, and I think it's 31,000 pound towing capacity, something like that. It's a lot for like fifth wheel towing. It's a lot. It's big. It is an F350. I haven't really done much to it. It is filthy right now, and it's got duct tape on it, on the bed, that I need to get rid of. All this duct tape that I need to clean off and get rid of before it fucks my paint up. It's been on there for a couple months now because I took a trip down to California to save my mother-in-law, which that's her car right there. And in order to get everything back safely in the rain, we put a big tarp over it and duct taped the tarp to the side of the truck so that we could keep all the rain out of it and keep the tarp together without the wind tearing it apart. I tried a lot of other things, and that ended up being the only thing that actually worked, was duct taping it to the bed. And so that was my last resort, and I did it, and I just haven't taken the time to clean it off because I'm lazy. But this is my truck. My Superman. And eventually I'm going to be getting the black version of the grill for this, because I don't really like chrome. I just don't. But I'd like to get the black version of the grill for that. I want to get the square mirrors from the newer version of the truck. It is the 6-liter, and I know a lot of people don't like the 6-liter, but I've had one problem with the truck since I've owned it. It happened 2 days after I bought it, where it just wouldn't start. They had just done a bunch of injector and fuel system work on it. It replaced the FICM and a whole bank of injectors and all that stuff, and it was only probably a day before I bought it that they did that work. And then 2 days later I parked it, and then in a parking lot where we were going to eat at Denny's, and when we went back out to it, I couldn't get it to start. Spent the whole day trying to get it to start. The fuel pump was working fine and all that. It just would not work. It looked like it was going to be the IPR valve based on what my scan tool set told me, but based on the readings I was getting off my scan tool. But they took it, they had it towed on their expense. They took it, and it got towed that night. When they got up the next morning, they walked out to it, it started right up, and they had it for 10 days, could not get it to do it again. They went over the whole thing, and what I did notice, however, is that when I was underneath there messing with it, I noticed that the FICM was loose and the ground strap wasn't on it like it was supposed to be. And when I got it back from them, that was tightened down the way it was supposed to be, and in place with the ground strap in place. And so that probably was the issue. Because grounding issues can make a hell out of your life. Grounding issues can cause so many things. But I've literally had zero problems with it since that one time of something happened. Yeah, I did not have it for 10 days right off the bat, which sucked and my wife was very upset about. But ever since that issue, I've had zero problems with this truck whatsoever. I absolutely love it. It runs great. I do think I'm getting a little bit lower fuel mileage than I'm supposed to. I'm averaging about 13, and from people that I've talked to, they said that they get about 18 to 19, but this is my first diesel truck that I've ever owned, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting. I'm not running really aggressive tires. If you look at these tires right here, they're not like super aggressive. They are all-terrain tires, so I shouldn't be getting too bad of gas mileage because of them. But I'd like to take a look at it and see if I can get better fuel mileage when I have the chance. But that's my daily driver right now. I drive it 54 miles daily to work 4 days a week, because I only work 4 days a week, thankfully. 410s, they're awesome. It's awesome. But it's still over 200 miles a week, and it eats fuel. And diesel's kind of expensive. Well, diesel's kind of expensive right now. So I'd like to figure out a little bit better fuel mileage for the tow rig. But more than that, I want to start daily driving my 4Runner again, and so I can get out there and off-roading some more, because that's one of my passions, is off-roading. So that's what this channel is going to be all about, is fixing my off-road vehicles, fixing my tow rig, fixing my drift vehicle, and, you know, just all the little stuff along the way, fixing other people's cars. I mean, you know, any big projects that I do, I want to do, you know, how-tos on them, like it did with the valve adjustments. When I do clutch replacements, I'll probably do that. I'll probably do a video on that. When I do this vehicle for my mother-in-law, she's going to need a wheel bearing and probably brakes. I don't know if I'll do a how-to on the brakes, but I'll probably do a how-to on the wheel bearing. And if I'm doing the brakes at the same time, I might as well just do a how-to on that as well, because it'll already be there. Just little things so that people can, you know, see that. I don't really want to make this a how to be a mechanic channel. I really want to make this this is what I'm, you know, just a vlog about my vehicles. But, you know, throwing in some how-tos along the way isn't bad. People need that kind of stuff too. So I'll probably do quite a bit of that. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys want to see. Tell me what your guys' opinions are on the Supra, whether I should scrap it and start with a different vehicle or continue on with it, since I've already had it for 4 years, for over 4 years now. What you guys would like to see with it if I do keep it, with the 4Runners, if you like that stuff. Off-roading, I'll definitely be posting up off-roading videos when I do it, and then drift event videos when I do those. Hopefully eventually get to that stuff. I want to do that. I need to re-clean out my garage again, and I bring my toolbox home. I'm going to hopefully bring my toolbox home every weekend again, so I can do more work every weekend. One of the other channels I watch, he said something in a video that I really kind of got me to, hey, he just said, just do it. Just put in the time. Just do it. And he's right. I just need to put in the time. It will never get done if I just don't put in the time. I just need to stop being a whiny little bud about it and just do it. I could have already had this done months ago. I've been driving the 4Runner around. And, you know, but thanks for watching. See you guys next time.